welcome back. If this is the first video you've watched, go back, watch part one. But basically, we are creating TikTok, the app. So next, we're going to create this avatar or icon thing, just a circular image. To bring up a circle, you can press O, and then let's try to see how big the circle actually is. I'm gonna go with 48 by 48. It might be 49, but that might just be some weird pixel thing. But anyway, once you have this shape, we can turn that into an image. I use a plugin called Unsplash, and that lets you just gather or get stock images from wherever, and then it'll implant it into your app. So as you can see, I just click portrait and it finds me a random image. I don't really like this one or this one. Yeah, here we have this image of this guy. It looks like he's in a park, so we'll go with that. So we have this image that fills the shape. What we want to add is that stroke around the outside, so we'll click stroke. And yeah, it looks like a 1 pixel stroke. Now, to complete this, we need to add that little add button, or that plus. So this actually is the shape or the size that all our icons are at. Unfortunately, this one has a white background and our shape doesn't actually have that. So what we can do is we can press O and fill that hole with a background color. So this will act as our background color. Now, as you can see, the circle is at the top. To move our symbol or our icon up, we can press Command Option close bracket, and then it'll come up to the top. Yeah, so just you can look on the side and it should be there. Yeah, so now it's at the top. We're gonna turn this black into our TikTok red, so we just use the color style that's in our color library, or in our style library. And then to turn this into a component, you just make sure to group the whole thing first, or you don't have to group the whole thing. You can actually just click on the 4 diamonds at the top, and then once you've clicked on the 4 diamonds at the top, you can rename it. So we're gonna rename it to avatar, I guess. So to rename, just press Command R, and then you can rename it. So we'll rename it to avatar follow. Okay. Oh yeah, so the last thing to this is that we have to add the shadow or the effect. So we just go into our effects on the side, and then we can add that shadow and effect. So now we have this. So now we have all the components for the sidebar. We just put it all together and we have our sidebar. So let me just put all the pieces together. Now, when you're creating a separate component, you don't really want to use your existing component, so always make a copy. To drag a copy out, you can press Option and then drag something out. So yeah, just press Option and then you can make a duplicate of whatever layer you're selecting. But yeah, so we just want to get this, and I'll put this guy in here. We want to make sure everything's aligned, so go up and align center for everything. Try to get the dimensions right. So we have everything. We can group it together or turn it into a frame. I like to turn things into a frame. So to turn things into a frame, you press Command Option G. call this the sidebar. We have the avatar and all these icon buttons and Command Option G. And now everything's in a frame. So we'll call this the sidebar. Now we can take that sidebar and turn that into a component. Okay. So we have our icon buttons and the avatar thing. We have our sidebar. Now we gotta create the rest of this UI. So now we're gonna focus on this nav bar at the bottom. So this whole thing, we're gonna create this. So actually, I was trying to highlight the area that we're gonna recreate, but I might as well use this shape as the actual shape. We'll go into our assets and get our symbol. So we're taking this little house. Let's see, what size are they using for these icons? It looks like 29 pixels, so yeah, we're gonna set it to 29 pixels. And then we've got to add the text at the bottom. So I already created a text style for this, and I named it button nav. So as it turns out, it seems that the nav has a selected and unselected state. So I'm just gonna make a copy of this, unlink this text style, and then change the weight to, would it be semi-bold? I think it's bold. So yeah, we have our text style for bold, and now I'm gonna create a text style for this. So it'll be called button / nav selected. Okay. So we're gonna change this text style into nav selected. And now we have our button, our nav button component. So we align that, and we turn this into a component. And we'll rename this into nav button. Okay, and now we just need to recreate this for all the other buttons on the nav. Now, again, if you want to get into the icon, you can either click on the icon layer on the side panel, or you just click into the shape until, or into the component until you get to the icon shape. So we're going to change this to the search icon. There we go. Okay, this one isn't set to scale, so we go to the master component and change this settings to allow this shape to scale. So just to clarify, you don't want to do this all the time. Just in our case, or in this case, we do. Okay, so we've set to scale. Now if we go back, it should have scaled to the shape of the to the size of the actual icon. So we're gonna reset the style for this to nav, and then we can call it discover. Okay, so yeah, just make sure the colors are all there. So change this to white. So TikTok actually sets their opacity for this nav bar to change based on whether selected or not. After some testing, I realized that it's 60% opacity. So yeah, so now we have that. Next thing we need is the create or add button, which we already created. So we just need to go into our design system and get it. So there we go. So now that we have this nav set up, we can align everything. So everything looks aligned, and once it's aligned, we can put it into a frame and rename it to bottom nav buttons. Okay, so this isn't actually complete. We still have to put it into our frame. So I'm gonna bring my frame background back up. Make sure the alignment is correct, and now we can pull the whole thing out. Now it's clear to me that maybe this was a bit too big. It might be a pixel too big, so we're gonna change this to 28 and bring the shape down by 1 pixel. And then we make sure we center everything so that we don't have misaligned objects. Okay. Now the spacing is a bit better. So yeah, so now we turn this into a frame. Actually, it's a good practice to rename your shape layers to whatever it actually is. Oh no, we forgot about this. Okay, so we turn this into a frame, and we'll rename this bottom navigation. And we turn that into a component. So now we have our bottom nav. Okay, so now the description part, and what that means is this little section here. Okay, so we have that. Now the time to add the title, so I'm gonna just put in my name because, you know, branding, I guess. So yeah, we already set this text style to body title, so I just put that in and align this properly. Now, actually, it's probably best that we use the other reference. So, you know, this is the good thing about having multiple references. You can change it up if you feel like it. Okay, that's better. Except this one's a bit blurry, but you know, we'll survive. Okay, so now that we've created that, what you want to do is put this into a group, and then I guess we rename this group to, where is it? To title, or body title. Okay. Now we add this description text. So we know the limit of this description text. Something that you can do is go into the text style, and if you press the 3 dots on the side, you get more text options or more type options. As you saw, I already resized the frame, so I resized this to match whatever frame was already set by TikTok. And then we can change the resizing to auto height. So what that means is that as your description gets longer, the text box will get longer. So we'll set it to auto height, and let me show you something as an example. So we'll call it, this is a tutorial on how to design with Figma. So I'm not sure how clear that was on your end. Let me get the description, the type right, and then change the color so it's a bit more clear. I'm going to change it to blue for now just so it's clear. But yeah, as you can see, if you use PowerPoint or other design tools, it'll resize depending on what you type. Now when I look at this, it looks like the line height is a bit larger than the auto setting, so we're gonna go into our text style, and then we're gonna edit that. So we're just gonna add a bit more spacing to our line height. So it looks like it's about 131. Okay, we're just gonna set that for now. well, yeah, we're gonna change this color to to white, sorry. And then we have to create this this song ticker at the bottom. So let's what song are we gonna set it to? I don't know, we'll call it the Izzy song. Okay, so we're done with part 2. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on part 3, which will come up soon, I guess. Or maybe it's all out. Just watch all 3 at the same time.